It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome into another Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Alan, how we doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Pretty busy today. Busier than I thought it'd be.
Okay. Yeah, we're back after a draft weekend. Couple pieces of news, transaction-wise for the Steelers, which I'm guessing plays into that for sure. Like, coming into the weekend or coming into the new week after the weekend after the draft, I wasn't expecting necessarily to see some transactions taking place like this. Although, if there was going to be some, like that second wave of free agency where things aren't affecting the comp formula, I thought maybe in that way we could see something. But let's check those boxes with the news before we dive into some other things involving the draft. Monty Adams released when you look at the way that the Steelers kind of approached the draft and even, free agency, getting, some bodies from they got a body from the Patriots, stuff like that. So, and then they get two defensive linemen in the draft. Did it surprise you at all, Monty Adams released in like this point on the calendar? Do you feel like it made sense to?
Well, I think it didn't surprise me that much. You look at the depth chart, Keanu Benton staying at nose tackle, Y.A. Black comes in the 5th round. Bon Adams, they don't have 3 spots for nose tackles on the 53-man roster. So, I mean, it was going to be a competition. I think most of the time when you see a vet released at this time of the year, it's kind of a favor. It's just to say like, hey, we're probably going to go with the young guy. Why don't you go find a softer landing spot now than as opposed to getting cut in August or September and having to scramble. That doesn't mean that, like, I saw a lot of people like, they shouldn't have cut Adams, they should have cut whoever, somebody else. I'm like, yeah, well, they're going to cut other people too. This is just a way to let a vet go nicely most of the time. Not saying it's 100% what happened, but usually when a guy gets released this time of year, that's why it went down that way.
Yeah, I saw people saying like, should they be putting this much faith in Y.A. Black before like he even steps on the field for them or anything like that? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's an inordinate amount of faith to say a 5th round pick could be a backup nose tackle. I mean, I like whatever, that job doesn't matter that much.
Does it speak at all to maybe the versatility at all? Because Mon Adams is a guy that can move around a little bit along the line. Do you think that they envision that for Black as well, and that made an easier decision?
Probably not. I think Black is. I mean, he did play 3 tech at Iowa, but like I think he's probably just a nose tackle in the NFL. I mean, he certainly could do it, but like, let me say this: he's not going to be better at it than their other options. Like, I think they already have a difficult cut or two to make at 3 tech when you look at, okay, you got Cam Hayward, you got Derek Harmon, for sure. Benton's going to play there a lot when he's not playing nose tackle. Then you have Ekuale. I think he's going to make the team, pretty sure. Then you got Dean Lowry, DeMarvin Leal, Isaiah Loudermilk, and Logan Lee, and you look at him like, nobody gets hurt. I mean, there could be 3 of those 4 cut. I think it certainly seems likely 2 of those 4 would get cut. Sure. So, like, I don't think they will need Y.A. Black to be versatile, because I just think their 3 techs that they already have will be better at that time.
Yeah, that's fair. Certainly going to be an interesting battle to see throughout camp. Kind of reminds me, I'm not saying like, to the same degree that the strength was this year going into training camp with the offensive line. But we talked about how there was like 10 guys and how was it going to shake out. I think the defensive line this year could be a similar watch, at least on the bottom of that depth chart.
We just named 9, right?
So
there you go.
The other move that they made, and this is more unfortunate circumstances, Ryan Watts also released, gonna retire. Sounds like his football career is over. Man, it just, like, what was it, like the second to last play or something like that of the preseason last year he gets hurt on, and you never know with like those neck injuries. It reminded me a lot of like the Trenton Thompson thing, where like they called it a stinger, but very clearly ended up being much more significant than what it actually was listed as originally. But so unfortunate. I mean, a guy that they were asked to basically convert positions, going from corner to safety, and for as much as he could have shown in a couple months without actually playing in only playing in preseason and showing in training camp. I thought, saw some promising stuff there. So, obviously sucks for him and thoughts are with him and curious to see, how he transitions into his next phase of life, but never want to see somebody go out on those terms.
Yeah, it was such a meaningless rep too. Like the Steelers actually called timeout before that play to get themselves one more try on defense. And then that happens, and you're just like,
oh, geez, I didn't even remember that.
Wow. Yeah. Like the clock would have run out if they could have just let the clock run out, and they decided to call timeout to run one more play, and then that happened. So you hate to see that. It's a reminder that this game is dangerous, even though we've made it a lot less so over the years. But it certainly is capable of reminding you that any time, and it's tough to see, man. I thought he was the thing that really is, it's always sad to see someone lose their opportunity to fulfill their dream. I thought he was playing really well. He moved from corner to strong safety, and I was like, well, this is going to be like a season-long project. He'll probably stash him on the practice squad. I thought he was playing well enough to make the team, and that's the part of it that really, really stings.
For as much as it gives, there's times like this where it also takes. And like I said, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to keep up with him. We'll see if the team is able to find a role or something to keep him around in. I mean, he was around the team all last year, but we'll see what that looks like and if he's able to stick around. But all the best to Ryan Watts. Alan, the other thing, you didn't record a morning rush this morning, and I think we can take the topic that you were going to discuss on there and just convert it into Steelers afternoon drive topic, because it's something I would have wanted to discuss anyways, obviously, because of only recording on weekdays, not the weekends. It only talked about the Derek Harmon pick really so far, other than, you and Aaron obviously did your recap videos and stuff like that. But at least in a long form like this, we hadn't touched on day 2 or day 3 or any of the UDFAs, which was a pretty intriguing class there, a group of players that they brought in there as well. So I don't know, you want to just start going down the list of picks here one by one, or how do you want to go through it?
Yeah, we can do whatever. I think I wrote some grades at SteelersNow.com yesterday. I was mostly just going to take some time to explain those. I gave the class overall a B. I thought it was good, but not great. I think it is lacking the superstar upside that we've seen from the last couple of these classes. Caleb Johnson can be a really good running back, but outside of that, I don't see a star player here. I see probably only 2 players that will become starters. And that's usually less than you want. But you have to remember you get DK Metcalf in there as well, sure. Right? And so that kind of mutes a little bit of that, but I wasn't a big fan of the day 3 picks, to be honest, as a whole.
I got a take that I was like, I don't even know. I don't want to. Obviously, he hasn't played a snap yet, and he could be a fine pro. The one that, if I could have changed, Jack Sawyer, I thought should not have been the direction they went with that pick. I mean, if you switch that pick out for a Umanor, a wide receiver that would have been a slam dunk for me at that spot, that value. And I'm 100% more on board with that selection. Even if you were going to go edge, and I understand, I think that I'm not saying it's an overcorrection. Very clearly, they feel like this guy's suited to play in the AFC North and identified a weakness with their run defense, and that's what they wanted to address. But even if you were going edge rusher there, Swinson, I think offers much more pass rush upside. I mean, I've watched every snap that Jack Sawyer's taken at Ohio State. Obviously, he's not a finesse winner. It's not like he's not
you don't have the Ohio State flag behind you anymore.
I don't actually even, that blanket still might be at my parents' house now that I'm thinking about it. Anyways, but yeah, that's the one that lost. I'm not gonna say lost me, but I would have gone a different direction than the direction that they went with that pick.
I think he's a good player. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to me to use a 4th round pick on a guy who is firmly 4th on the depth chart
when he
doesn't have super high. It's not like you're taking a swing on this super high upside guy, right? Fairly limited upside in general. And all 3 guys ahead of him appear to be pieces of the long-term puzzle for this team. So where does the role come? I just don't really.
And
You had 2 more years of Nick Herbig under contract. Even if you think, I mean, did you just draft outside linebacker 2 years early like that? I don't know that. I don't like that pick. I think he's a good player. I think he will help their run defense, but how much is he going to play? Like that's the part of it that I really like. If this pick comes with a wholesale change in philosophy of the way the Steelers send out their edge rushers, and we're going to see a 15 to 20% reduction in TJ Watt's snap count this year, then maybe I can get on board with it. I mean, anything short of that, and this feels like a missed opportunity to me.
Yeah, and again, I think it's because of like what was on the board for me there at a spot that I would have liked to have seen the dress with Umanor, but I wonder too.
I think there's a number like I think if they had decided like Marcus Embo, the guard from Purdue, like another second round talent that fell. You know, like I think that's a position. Sure, he's probably not going to play much this year, but you could see the future. Draft him this year, start him next year. Like that makes more sense to me. Cornerback Quincy Riley. It's like, oh, hey, you don't have to think about slot cornerback anymore for the next 4 years. Like wouldn't that be nice? Like I think that would have been a better use of that pick. And so I don't know. I don't think he's a bad player, and it's obviously pretty good value for like he was probably a second or third round talent. 67 on the mock draft database consensus big board, so right kind of on the line between the second and third round. But I don't know.
Overdrafted according to our boy DB's rankings, though. I think he had him as like a 5th rounder. So
yeah. I have to say, I think if you're so like, and I'm probably speaking for DB a little bit more than I should here, but if you're someone who is concerned more about like the maximum upside than say the floor or the college production, he's not going to be someone you're going to be in love with.
Yeah. I will say, like, the thought that entered my mind right away is completely different in terms of like what he brings to the table to Nick Herbig. So was it just like a way of like,
very
body
different
types? Let's hit different body types as our rotational pieces, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I like the temperament that he plays with for sure too. The only thing that I was saying, like, as a true pass rusher, I just don't see it. Like he's gonna win. He's not gonna win with finesse. Doesn't have like a crazy bag of moves. He's gonna outwork you, and I can appreciate that for sure. But I'm just, again, I don't know how many times I need to say it, but not the direction I would have gone. You mentioned though Caleb Johnson. I love the Caleb Johnson pick, especially at 83. We did that in a mock draft that I put out, and people were like, no way, he's going to be available at 83. I hate / love when people say something like that because you don't have no clue how it's going to end up playing out when it really comes time for the NFL draft to take place. But I understand there's like some reservations from like league wide because I think that there is some scheme specificness to his game, but like. For this scheme, it's a perfect fit. I mean, I think this is like fit like a glove, as good of a team player fit as you could have had at any position throughout the entire draft. Like, I think this is a home run type pick for them and a great fit for him. I can't imagine the smile that Arthur Smith had on his face when this one was turned in.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, there's been some Steelers fans that don't like this pick, and I don't get that at all. He's such a good fit for the offensive scheme. A really, really talented runner.
People have this in their head because of the long speed that he's like Najee Harris or something like that. Like, listen, like you watch him on tape, doesn't look at all like it, makes up for it with his vision. I mean, the biggest knock on Najee, like to me, more so than the speed, was like vision at times, right? Like, and Caleb's got to me the best vision in the class. So patient with his footwork, made something out of nothing constantly. I mean, always facing stack boxes. I don't know. He finishes my RB4, but like in terms of like best fits for the Steelers, he was up there right at the top for me.
I think I like him probably as much as any running back in this class not named Ashton Jendi.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
I think he's especially for the Steelers, because the one area where you can be like, well, he didn't do much receiving, it's kind of an unknown.
That's why I would say
have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. They don't need him to receive. Like that's like the one thing where if you're who was another running back? The Denver Broncos. Okay. Like, why didn't they take him and just make him their 3-down running back? Well, okay, I can understand some hesitation there. But if you're specifically looking at what the Pittsburgh Steelers needed, he does everything they needed him to do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So love that pick. We already obviously talked about the Harmon pick. We just talked about the Sawyer pick. Wyatt Black, we kind of mentioned him just going through like the defensive line rotation and stuff like that. Man, is he super long though? Does he have the longest wingspan in the draft class? Certainly up there if it wasn't.
I think he had one of the longer ones ever.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah.
Like
I know it was like the longest measure at the Senior Bowl, but
it's like when you compare his wingspan to his height, like that's some long arms. And you know what's really funny is like I think he can get a lot better. Like his long arm isn't actually his best move, despite having those long arms. So I think he can improve. He's just not. I don't think he has the athleticism to ever be like a truly dynamic pass rusher as a 3-tech. But I think he can be serviceable as a nose that is not just a run defense nose. And going from there, we got Carson Bruner, the pick that I know we're going to get the most comments hating on because his last name is Bruner, but it's actually a very normal, wonderful pick. He was projected by just about everyone to be a 7th rounder. They take him in the 7th round. He's a good special teamer. Will make for an interesting competition at linebacker. I think you're probably looking at one guy on the way out between him, Cole Holcomb, and Mark Robinson. But, man, 7th rounder's got an inside track on a roster spot. That's good enough.
Yeah. And the one that we mocked to the Steelers, both of us, when we did our mock draft mania on here.
Oh, Will Howard.
Will Howard.
Yeah, we both took him in the 4th. No, I took him in the 4th. You got him in the 5th.
Something like that. I don't know.
You traded back in the 4th.
It might have been later 4th. Yeah, it might have been later in the 4th.
In the 4th and still got him. Will Howard in the 6th. Interesting pick. I think he's has a floor as a good backup. If you get the Will Howard that played the last 4 games of the season, then you might have an above average starter. We'll see. But we both talked about liking the player way ahead of where he went in the 6th round. I think that's a really good pick.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, very good value in my opinion for where he went. Even if you have like some question about was that stretch of ball in the college football playoff an anomaly? I mean, to take a shot in the 6th round, to me, I was surprised it didn't have. They could have taken him at 124 with that Sawyer pick, and I would have been like, okay, like I think that's probably justified in them doing so. Would I have loved it with the board that was there? Probably not. But if they would have done it, I would have been like, okay, I understand why it happened. I mean, much better value.
Top 100 player. I didn't mock him to the Steelers in my official mock for the 4th round because I didn't think he was going to be there.
Yeah, right. Who wasn't there, and the Steelers got much better value with their quarterback selection there than the Dylan Gabriel pick for the Cleveland Browns, which I just did not understand.
It was the worst pick of the draft.
It's what was funny is like, was he even expecting to go? And then like they flashed to his house and he had like people over and seemed like it was like ready to go, like he was anticipating being picked. As I thought, maybe he's a day 3 guy. Despite where who was it? Was it Tony Dungy? I keep forgetting about this.
Tony Dungy, mock draft. The Steelers. Yeah.
But yeah, there was that. You already touched on Carson Bruner, obviously. And then Dante Kent, who was, I'll straight up right hand up. I did not know who this was when this was announced. So know nothing about him.
Well, that's because he was the number 450 player on the consensus big board, 469 or something like that. Way off the board here. Not that you can't win in the 7th round by going way off the board, but I graded this as my worst pick of the draft for the Steelers because I thought there were good corners left on the board, and I obviously don't. I mean, I can't say I have done a ton of scouting on, but I think there were better. Kobe Bryant was like a top 150 player, I think, and he was still on the board in the 7th round. Zy Alexander still on the board in the 7th round. Tommy Hill from Nebraska, who looks like a great special teams cornerback, still on the board in the 7th round. Mello Dotson, the other Kansas corner. I was I can't, Mike, I think I think it's Mike, is the one member of the audience. It's big Kansas guy. And I was talking up all the Kansas prospects, and Kobe Bryant was on the board there in the 7th round. I was like, we're getting one right here for Mike. It's going to happen. And then Dante Kent. I'm not going to hate on the young man. Seems like a good guy, but I don't understand the thought process behind the draft pick.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, mentioned special teams value for some other guys there. I know he's a good punt returner. Yeah, so I'm curious to see if that's kind of the way.
Calvin Austin for that role? I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Maybe kickoffs. Maybe he's got to make the team. Like I don't know.
Right.
So I gave that pick a D. I gave Jack Sawyer a C+, Carson Bruner a C. I look back, I probably a little bit too tough on Carson Bruner. Probably could have given that like a B-, but hey, it is what it is. The greatest.
Let's say, is it more about the player? Like I think is fair value there. The question for me, once you get into those later rounds, especially, is like, should you be going like that direction or like a position that you feel like is of more need? Because again, if you have like Mark Robinson on the roster already, and
would have preferred a safety, especially with the Ryan Watts news coming. I had suspected,
although. To me, getting Sebastian Castro as a UDFA is just as good as spending.
Yeah, I would have been. I would have liked picking Sebastian Castro. If you flipped similar to the Howard, if you flipped Sebastian Castro and Carson Bruner, I would have given it a better grade. So okay, and then going up from there, I gave a B- to YA Black, and an A- to Derek Harmon, an A for Caleb Johnson, and an A+ for Will Howard.
A+ for Will. I mean, yeah, that's such good value. Like
6th round for a top 100 player, you're not going to get better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, then some of the UDFAs I mentioned, Sebastian Castro, obviously. Did it surprise you? I think their largest guarantee, or at least that was reported, was to a tight end. I think
tight end, fullback, kind of
okay,
super like big athlete kind of guy, and from South Alabama,
DJ Thomas Jones,
so the the Senior Bowl in Mobile is on the campus of South Alabama, and very frequently we get some South Alabama guys that will be injury replacements or will, look, they're trying to sell tickets, right? So like they will very frequently bring some South Alabama. In fact, there was a wide receiver this year in this class that I thought actually did pretty well for himself, but it was what's his name? Pritchett, I think. Jamal Pritchett. He was at the Senior Bowl, even though he was like ranked 350th in the draft class. I didn't see if he got drafted or not, but I actually thought he did okay. And so I had been doing some, when you see a guy listed from South Alabama and he didn't go to the Senior Bowl, my first instinct is, well, he can't be any good. Because if he was, then it takes him there.
I mean,
But when I saw the fullback next to his name, I said, this is like some betting on athletic traits kind of thing here, where it's not about what the player was in college, which, I mean, certainly they're listening to scouts when they do those invites, but this isn't someone that was going to sell any tickets to the South Alabama faithful, right? So like that's why that particular motivation didn't exist.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to see how he works his way in and if he can crack the roster. Some other interesting ones to me: Rock Taylor, the wide receiver out of Memphis.
Yeah,
I've seen some people. He's got like a little niche fan base within the draft community. It seems like I was kind of doing some digging after the Steelers signed him. So you can speak on him, but also just real quick, I wanted to mention like Ben Sauls as well, just because I thought like he would have an opportunity somewhere where like less established kicker than Chris Boswell was. And maybe he just, shines in the preseason and then ends up going somewhere else, because obviously he's not going to end up being the starting kicker here.
Before we get to the rest of those guys, DJ Thomas Jones, full government name, DeMarcus Juan Thomas Jones, which means he has 4 first names.
Yeah.
4 first names.
Yeah. Well, yep. welcome to the roster. He's making my 53.
Yep, there you go. Journalism major at USA also. So
wow,
shout out DJ. Ben Sauls, there's only so many opportunities for starting kickers in the league, and once you go past that, it doesn't really matter. Like, you just need somewhere who's going to let you kick in the preseason. You're going to try out, and you're on the Steelers roster, but you're trying out for 32 teams, and so like that, you may as well do it in Pittsburgh where he's comfortable. Rock Taylor, I think, has a decent chance to make the team. They don't have it right now, a backup outside wide receiver. I would immediately make him wide receiver 6. A couple other JJ Galbraith, the tight end from South Dakota, crazy RAS score.
Actual tight end.
Actual tight end. Yeah. And so that's someone to keep an eye out for. And then one, you got to have the ones that you have your own personal favorites. And I have a feeling that this one is going to be one of my personal favorites. We should almost put the picture up. But the Steelers go offensive line from Division II. I also, as an IUP guy, have a soft spot for the D2 guys, but Aiden Williams from Division II, Minnesota Duluth. Go Bulldogs.
Another RAS guy.
Out of Anchorage, Alaska. And I tweeted the Steelers are signing D2 Minnesota Duluth guard Aiden Williams, says the UDFA, 6'6", 295, native with a sweet mullet. And then I put his, in his team, headshot. He's got some serious flow going on in the back of the helmet. And then Aiden replied, "Thank you so much for that." Now, I really appreciate the guy who is not very active on Twitter. He does not have a real non-reply tweet of his own since 2023, but decided to hop on and be like, "Thanks for shouting out the mullet there, big guy." So I think we're going to get along with Aiden Williams just fine.
Yeah, this might be my guy too. I saw the RAS number was real good too. I'm gonna shoot him a message and be like, "Hey, you ever think about throwing some blonde in the back of that thing?" Or
he may, on his profile picture now, you can't really see because he's got his helmet on, but there could be some blonde involved there. It's hard to tell. I just want to know how you go from the first ever, probably of any individual, let alone a football player, whose career path goes Anchorage, Duluth, Pittsburgh. Right? Like, that's a one of one there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're rooting for Aiden now for sure. But yeah, anything else, whether it be a specific player within the draft class or just like general thoughts on how they tactics in general? Like, obviously with Will Howard not until the 6th round, I think we're all still getting the sense, especially from more comments during the draft process, from the owner of the team, Art Rooney II, about Aaron Rodgers. Still kind of feel like that's coming down the pipeline at some point, or they're confident that it's going to. But any thoughts on just like, did they attack it a certain way because of that, or just their approach in general?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we all know what's happening, and I think the Steelers have just decided that Aaron Rodgers is coming.
I mean, I have never, you could probably speak more if this has happened before. I've never seen them openly talk about a player that was not on their roster in this manner before.
They talk about him more than they talk about some of the players who are on their roster.
Yeah, like the level.
I got more of an answer out of Aaron Rodgers than I did at asking about what's happening to the third safety.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and especially for AR2 to talk about Aaron Rodgers in the way that he has and be so confident about it. Like, it's just, I've never seen this. I just don't see a way it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree.
With that in mind, despite obviously you went through it and gave grades on the picks and stuff like that, so that's its own separate thing in my opinion. Did anything surprise you about the way they went about, whether it was like, the Sawyer pick that they maybe go edge earlier than you thought, or did you think that was possible, or just like general thoughts there?
I'm a little surprised at the Shedeur Sanders thing. I thought they would have taken him in the 3rd round when he was there.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised they didn't Like, clearly, this is a player they did not have on their board at all. Like, and so, yeah, it's a little. I want to put you on the spot here, but do you think right now Shedeur Sanders is going to do well with the Browns? Like, do you like that's a good pick if you just look at this guy was top 12, probably top 20, and you get him in the 5th round. Do you think that's going to work out? Do you think that Shedeur Sanders is going to make the Steelers regret passing on him as many times as they did?
I was just saying, I think yes and no. Like, I think that from a value perspective, I think it's hard to do better than that, in my opinion, despite what you feel like the ceiling is. Like,
it's
if he's
good pick no matter what, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But my question is like, is there even going to be how much opportunity is going to be provided to him? Because you look at that trade back that Cleveland made very clearly to me says like we want to be players in 2026, just like the Steelers do at quarterback. So like, is he even going to really get a shot to be a starter there? That's my question. Like, if it's not at the beginning of this year, if they roll with Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco, whatever the opportunity or whatever direction they go there, yeah, I just don't know. Like, it's hard for me to see the path for him because with that investment, there's nothing guaranteed to him. Like, he'd just be the backup quarterback or 3rd string quarterback there. I don't know. Like, my biggest question is, does he even see an opportunity, like a legit opportunity?
Who do you think he's going to start? Who makes the team? It's not a Browns podcast, but not today by Mary Kay Cabot. They will not be picking up Kenny Pickett's 5th-year option. Yeah. So that's.
I mean, is it possible they trade?
Not unexpected. They should trade one of Pickett or Flacco, I would think.
Yeah, like just because those two. I mean, to me, I would want to see the 2 rookies through most of the preseason.
I don't want to see Dylan Gabriel at all.
I mean, yeah, fair. I wouldn't have picked him, but they did. So, are you going to just throw away a 3rd round pick that quickly? I mean,
they did literally throw away a 3rd round pick. I don't know how. I mean, I guess the one thing is like Dylan Gabriel appears to have a pretty good head on his shoulders, so like there is a chance that like Shedeur just like totally flames out of the NFL, like personality wise, not necessarily play wise.
I think that's a fair question. Is Dylan Gabriel or a lot of quarterbacks within this class better suited to be a backup quarterback than Shedeur is? Like, if you know that he's not going to be a starter, is somebody else better suited to be a backup?
Yes, I think Will Howard is better suited to be backup. I'm not sure Dylan Gabriel is good enough to even feel confident in him being a backup right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mentioned there was a lot of guys in this class that I thought were like potential long-term backup options that were going to be taken on day 3 and stuff. I wasn't even considering him within that group, let alone somebody that went on day 2. So,
yeah, I think there were guys that went undrafted that I like more than I like Dylan Gabriel.
What I should have paid attention to my guy Max Brosmer. I don't even know if he
Riley Leonard went to the Colts.
Vikings.
Graham Mertz went to somewhere. The Raiders took Cam Miller, the North Dakota State.
The Raiders took like 2 quarterbacks and 3 picks.
One of them they're moving to wide receiver. I think.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Yeah, he was listed. It just looked funny, but apparently he's not going to play quarterback.
And then Curtis Rourke went to the 49ers, which is interesting. A very Brock Purdy-esque 7th round pick. Quinn Ewers also in the 7th round. Went Dolphins. To Miami. And I like some guys that didn't even get drafted. Just like I was at the Senior Bowl. I think I like Seth Hennigan more than I like.
Oh, speaking of maybe you, I don't know. You might have sent. Yeah, it's already sent to our. But real quick before we get out of here, Deontay Johnson visiting the Browns. Speaking of the Browns, and not being a Browns podcast, but as we're recording here, that coming in
could be a Browns podcast for Steelers fans, where it's just like.
Kenny Pickett to Deontay Johnson in Browns uniform.
There you go. I got to put this out in the universe. Okay. We talked about this in the draft from the other day. With that pick that the Browns traded for and their own pick. Now, the Browns have the capital to get number 1 overall if they wanted, right? Could Kenny Pickett be the tank commander for the Cleveland Browns? And go out there and just lose 15 games, and get the Browns the number 1 overall pick. Like, and what would Steelers fans react? And then to have the Browns get the number 1 overall pick in Pittsburgh to use it drafting the franchise quarterback that beats the Steelers for 10. Like, can you imagine? Like, that would be better revenge than probably anything Kenny Pickett is actually capable of doing on the football field.
Losing to the Steelers twice and then losing like 13 more other games would be far worse than anything that he did positively or negatively.
Like, that would be like, do all that so the Cleveland Browns can draft Arch Manning in Pittsburgh and win 4 Super Bowls with him.
in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
in Pittsburgh. Yeah, like that would be better revenge than anything positive I think he would be capable of doing.
But like, from realistically though, because this is playing out in my head, no way that he would continue playing for them, right? Like, should they start going that direction, right? Like, wouldn't they want to look at
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They would just play one of the young guys.
Yeah, in your hypothetical, my God, I'd be even more upset.
Right? Like, that would be the ultimate revenge, to just hand them the first round pick.
Yep. Anyways, good stuff as always. Before we get out of here, Alan, tell the people they can find you.
Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now is the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there and read the words so I can get paid. Continue, please, to sign up for SN Plus. We will do, since we got such a great response last time, an SN Plus subscribers only live stream here with probably me, Smitty, DB. I don't know, maybe we'll get some more people involved. And then Aaron was involved in that too. Aaron did a nice job over the weekend as well. Shout out to Aaron. Got a couple good comments in the YouTube channel. Do we have any new subscribers that we need to shout out here? Indeed, we do. In fact, we have a couple. No, we don't. Never mind. I'm a liar. Doug Kistler and Matt Nichols are the last 2, right? We got them.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
They're on here. Yeah.
All set. And appreciate you guys. And I'll have to get another one of those going. Also, the best part of it, forget the live stream, ad-free on SteelersNow.com. That is really the way to go. And then subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube platform. Rolling, man, 15,500. And I feel like we've had this one not that long ago. And I think I can't remember who I picked last time. 91 is the number. And now I can't remember. Yeah. I don't want to reuse the number I picked last time. Did I pick Tyrone Stowe last time?
If you did, I don't remember that happening.
Craig Vesey is who I'm going to pick this time. Craig Vesey was a nose tackle back in the early 90s, 191.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my mind immediately goes to Tuitt. Obviously, Aaron Smith as well. Kevin Greenward. Who's somebody that's like obscure? I don't know if I can think of anybody else. No one else within my lifetime, right? I mean, there's 95.
I mean, there's definitely a couple of obscure ones in there. I mean,
Steelers legend Preston Smith just wore it last year.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Tyrone
I would have definitely used
91. That's what it was. So it was 99. Craig Vesey is a good pick. Right?
Also, real quick, Thomas Brocious was asking about how the ads are. I don't know if he's talking about. I know the comment was on YouTube, but he meant Men of Might on the listening platforms. I just let them do their own thing. Like, I don't pick where they're.
You don't have any say in who has the ads or where they show up. They just do. So if we leave you hanging in the middle of a sentence, sorry, that's it's not on.
Probably happens often, especially because like we don't come up for air often once we get rolling. We just talk.
No, yeah, it's kind of a high energy, especially the morning rush. God, I don't ever shut up. Like, I don't know what. There's no good where to put an ad, place to put an ad in that show.
Yeah,
at least here there's a couple back and forth pauses.
Speaking of the listening platforms, if you're over there, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from, be sure to leave a 5-star review. Subscribe over there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then you'll follow me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH. Alan Saunders and myself, thanks for jumping in and taking another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.